Alright, hey everybody, I'm No Arrows. Today we're looking at Welcome Back from Boom Studios by Christopher Sebela, Jonathan Brandon Sawyer, and Claire Rowe. And basically it's the story of this girl named Maylee who's she's kind of, your typical, young 20-something. She's just trying to live her life. Her dad was this notorious serial killer, so she's trying to keep a low profile, and she's got a roommate and everything. She's got a boyfriend and all that, and she's trying to find her way in the world basically. And what ends up happening is that she discovers that she's this reincarnated soldier or warrior, maybe, who's she's destined to fight in this eternal war, and be reincarnated in it, and fight and die in it over and over again. And she's been doing this since the dawn of humanity. So she figures this out, or she awakens to this destiny, and so she all of her past lives come back to her, and all her and she has all these memories and stuff, and all her skills that she acquired in her past lives come back to her. So now she's a badass. And then she also finds that on the other side of the conflict there's there's a structure to it, I guess. There's a structure to how the war has to play out. And so on the other side of the conflict there's this other girl, and they're basically supposed to fight and kill each other over and over again. Boom really irritates me with this comic. Usually they bind things a little better than this, but they bound this one really stiff, so I have to constantly wrestle with it while I'm trying to turn the pages and show you what's happening. But yeah, and that's pretty much what this is. I mean, it does it kind of there is that's just kind of describing the first issue basically. By the end of the volume, the comic has kind of a very different outlook than that. But yeah, it's kind of the sort of thing that I can't really give too much away of without spoiling. So the writing was good. I like the characters. I like Maylee plenty, and I like Tessa, who's the girl I was just talking about, who she has to fight. And I don't like her haircut, but I mean, I liked her personality. And stop. I guess I feel I need to know more about the nature of this war. I felt kind of, I don't want to say confused, but I feel I needed to know more about the war. I needed to know more of the lore and the world building by the end of this volume to really get a handle on what was happening. Well, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say, maybe what they, okay, the thing about this comic is it drops a lot of information, and plenty, probably too much. Ideally, the information that gets dropped in this volume, I understand that they wanted to hook you in and give you info right away, but it feels like a lot. I feel we could have been eased into this a little more. Spoiler alert. And so basically the feeling that I come away with this is that they started dumping all this info and providing all this information about the war and the this and all this, and the nature of the reincarnation and everything, but then they just kind of stopped. They kind of they went halfway with it, and it's if you're gonna drop that much information, I feel in this instance I needed like they started doing it that way, and wish they would have pushed a little further just to give me a little bit more. You know, it's like that. It's in an unhappy middle ground right now, where I wish they would have just went all in and just told me everything if they were gonna go this far with it. Like yeah. And oh yeah, I gotta talk about the art. Brandon Sawyer does Jonathan Brandon Sawyer does the first issue, and Clairo does 3 and 4, and they both kind of split issue 2. And the divide is pretty clear. Like when you're reading it, it's a little bit jarring actually. And I prefer I prefer Sawyer's art, I think. Not that Claire's art is bad or anything, but I just like Jonathan Brandon Sawyer's more. I keep wanting to call him by his last name, Brandon Sawyer, as if it was hyphenated, you know, like one of those double names, but it's not. I guess he just, you know, goes by Jonathan Brandon Sawyer. Like he includes his middle name in his you know, pen name. But anyways, yeah, it's a pretty good comic. I'm on board with it. You know, I'll check out the second volume, see what else it has to tell me about the, you know, the structure of the two sides, you know, why they're fighting, things of that nature, I guess. So we'll just see what happens with it. I'll give it another trade, and I think you'd like it if you're, you know, if anything in this sounded interesting to you, I'd say it's worth picking up for sure.